maybe. Ah, all right, here we are, mental health warriors. Yes, welcome to our show. Today I have Jen Steck Sweeney with me from Pennsylvania. Before we get into that, I have to make a couple of announcements. Mental Health Warriors now are found on Spotify. Check that out. Woo. I always did say I had a face for radio, so I'm good with Spotify. We can work with that. Um, Also, just so you know, we also have a Facebook group, Mental Health Warriors Facebook page and group there where we share personal opinions and opportunities to get to know us a little better and be able to connect with us on a deeper level. So with that, Jen, introduce yourself. What do you do and where are you from?
My name is Jennifer Steck Sweeney. I am a ABA behavioral consultant. I'm a licensed behavior specialist here in the state of Pennsylvania. I work with children on the autism spectrum and children with behavioral needs.
Nice. So, in a nutshell, do you have a young man or a family member on the spectrum?
I do actually. My youngest son, Anthony, he's 12. He is on the autism spectrum. He is nonverbal, but uses AAC to communicate.
Nice. So, what I want to touch on first, so that my sponsors don't think I forgot. I also know, Jen, that you have a blended family. When I have a blended family, how do you guys deal with your mental health, and how do you go about teaching the kids and even your husband about it?
Very carefully. Just it's about knowledge. It's about seeking out resources and looking to other people for looking to other knowledge based things, and even within your own community, seeking out people and just basically just seeking things out.
Yeah, I think a lot of us forget that there are opportunities out there for us to um, be able to express ourselves. I know you and I have a common friend that helps us a lot with just being ourselves and understanding who we are. And I know from my personal experience with three boys on the spectrum that um, they all present different mental health capacities and stuff. So I think the biggest thing for us is to be able to understand them. A lot of my boys kind of relate with body language and stuff. So with that, it's tough to decipher, and so yeah, it's really hard sometimes when you're the caregiver and you have to um, watch out for everybody else, but then we forget to take care of ourselves. So yeah.
And that's something that a lot of us as caregivers do, is we neglect self-care. We're always making sure that our children with disabilities, or in my case, having a dual role as a clinician, being able to, work with the needs of the families that I work with and my own child, it is a struggle. It is a struggle to try to find balance, even 5 minutes just to, for myself, just to breathe. In the past, I would just push it off and push it off. But now I think I try to find at least that little bit of time each day just for me, just so I can decompress, so I'm not having it affect my mental health.
Yeah, and I always tell people, I have a schedule I run throughout my day, and if I have a 3 hour gap, I don't try to fasten anything in there, because you might need that moment to either answer questions or just to go for a walk. And I know here in Nebraska lately, it's been nuclear when you try to go for a walk when the sun is up. And
it's really hot out here, hot and humid today. Yesterday was nice, but today it's hot and humid, and I'm all about staying in the air conditioning.
Yeah, that's a benefit sometimes of working behind a screen and being able to adjust yourself accordingly. I know the biggest thing for me is not having somebody walk in the back door like they just did.
That actually happens here all the time. Tony's in and out. I'm surprised he hasn't popped in yet. But it's life. It's our kids. It's part of their quirks that make them them, and they always got to know what we're doing and where we're at. I think it's more of a thing of reassurance with them.
Yeah, and that's just it. I don't know about your son, but my sons have learned, especially my youngest one, who has a birthday coming up, actually starts school on his birthday this year. He's pretty stoked about that. But he's doing Independence Academy, and when he's overwhelmed, he'll literally come home for an hour, and he's learned that he needs to decompress before he talks to me, because with the words that he does have, it'll come out angry, and he doesn't like to come home angry. And so I think the biggest thing for us is being able to give our kids some space to decompress and understand that it's not us. It's that they've been performing all day or doing their tasks all day, that they just need the time for themselves. And I think as caregivers, we always want to push for the answers, but they're not ready for it. So I think that's where we kind of need to remember that they're still human beings too.
Yeah, they are. They're kids. They need space, just like us adults.
Yeah, true. So I understand you guys have a big trip coming up. So how do you prepare Tony for big trips? Do you use a lot of visual cues, or is he able to grasp what you're saying to him?
I think he knows that something's happening. It's been a lot of, okay, we have, like today we have 5 sleeps till we go on our trip. So it's just a matter of, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Just talking to him like he's just a person. Just treat, the biggest thing with Tony is we don't use the autism label as an excuse. It's
right.
Part of who he is, and we treat him like every other child.
Okay, yeah, sure. No, I understand that. That's like each one of my kids are different. My oldest son is a college graduate. He is married, and apparently I'm receiving mail at the same time I'm talking to you. And then my second son is in the workforce and stuff. And so, and then Jonathan with Independence Academy. When he was younger, we had to do visual cues, and we couldn't tell him if he was going to see somebody that he knows that he loves until the day of, because I don't know about you, but I keep getting repetitions of are we going today? Are we going today? No, you still, like you said, you have 5 more sleeps before you can go, and I think a lot of times we forget that they have a mind that races 100 miles an hour, and so the only thing they're thinking about is the the end result and what they get to do.
Well, and also with that too, they see the world so much differently than we do. Where we see things one way, Tony could see it the complete opposite. And I think it's about, with your own children and kids that you work with, it's about coming down to their level and finding how to enter their world. That's that's been a struggle with Tony, is trying to find that into his world. But as he's gotten older, it's gotten easier.
Yeah, and another thing that I like to do with the community that I work with is teach parents how to watch their own children and understand what they're trying to say to them. I remember when John was little, we couldn't take him shopping for the first 3 years because he would just 5 minutes into the store and he's done. And it took me a long time to realize that he wasn't really necessarily into the echoes of the Walmart chamber.
We still cannot go into Walmart to this day. There's something every time we go into Walmart, it triggers Tony, even if he has his headphones on. So like we're grateful for like stores like Target that the lighting is turned down, and just being able to do some of that stuff. I do a lot of drive up, order it and pick it up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we don't necessarily do that. That's been a real game changer for us. We've actually not started, but in the last couple years have allowed John to shop for himself as we're shopping. Okay, what do you want this week? Do you want Sunny D or do you want Hawaiian Punch? Are you having chicken or pizza snacks? Because heavens, that's the only 2 things they can eat. And so, as we go about, he'll be like, I need chicken. Okay, so we go to the chicken aisle. He gets it and he puts it in his cart. So I think as the kids grow older and turn different areas of their life, and you have to allow them to do that, because at some point they're going to have to make their own decisions and be able to do that with frequency. So that is something that.
And we're not going to be around forever. I mean, I know when I do take Tony into the store and he shops, hey, Tony, if you see something, put it in the cart. I've gotten him to the point now where he knows which one's my debit card and he'll hand it to me. And I'll use hand over hand prompting to get him to teach him those life skills. Those life skills a lot of people don't realize are extremely essential.
Mm-hmm. And I also don't think, Jen, that people understand you can start teaching life skills early. I mean,
Exactly.
literally from the time that they understand, you start teaching them early. And I think, as they're growing up, you don't want to pressure them into it. But John's going to be 20 on the 15th. And so he has become such a great helper. Like, I think this week for him to remember on the grocery list was getting dish soap so he could do dishes, because we don't do dishes. John does dishes in our family now. Another good thing job skills have taught him. So I'm like, cool. And so, I don't think they're ever too young to start learning life skills.
No, and those are the skills that we should teach. I mean, a lot of my focus is ABA, and ABA is a lot of repetition. But the more you repeat the skill acquisition is amazing.
Yeah. You kind of touched on something that I know you and I and those people watching get a lot of critical feedback about ABA therapy. I know 20 years ago, everything was so negative around ABA therapy. So Jen, tell me, what is ABA therapy like now?
ABA therapy has grown and it has evolved And it's starting to, from the literature that I've read and I understand, we're starting to incorporate a lot more of other modalities into it. It's a science, and science is constantly evolving and changing. I know there's a push for trauma focused in ABA because some people say, but the thing about ABA is, again, ABA is not for everybody. There could be another treatment method that's better suited for a child. I've always been taught you don't know unless you try. And if something's not working, it could be as simple as you don't have the right therapist, you don't have the right BH or behavior technician or registered behavior technician or BT. So there's so many factors in. But yes, previously ABA was, traumatic for some people, but for some people it's a game changer. You just have to know your child and what's best for them.
Right. And I think the biggest thing is parents and caregivers need to be observant of what's right for the child. I think a lot of times that people think because somebody's not doing something right with their child that they can't change, but they can change. It's about finding the right person for your child, and as well as I do, if you've met one person on the autism spectrum, it's just one person, because each person, just like anybody else, is different. And I think people forget that just because we're different doesn't mean that we can't learn. We just have to learn a different way. And
exactly.
And being autistic myself is really hard for people to understand that I think differently, but on the same hand, I care. And so sometimes the stigma behind that will be like, oh, you don't understand what I'm talking about, or this or that. And so I classify myself the clarification queen, because I'm going to ask. I don't care if I'm in a job interview or whatever. I'm going to ask for clarification. And so I think the parents.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. I think the biggest thing for not just employers, but just people in general is, don't judge what you don't know.
And the thing is, parents need to speak up. That's, there are some, if one specific intervention's not working, okay, tell me that this isn't working for you. Let's find something else. Let's find what works. And communication, that is the big key. That is one of the big keys when you're treating someone's child. You need to communicate openly and honestly.
Right. And that's just it. I think a lot of people struggle with being, as I would say, an open book, because, if you ask me a question and I don't have an answer for you right away, I'm going to be like, can I have a little bit? Because for me, I'm already trying to add 6 + 6 and get 66. And so, I think the biggest thing is clarification. And I don't think a lot of people ask enough questions.
Exactly.
You have the extremes where people are like bombing you with questions, and I'm over here trying to take notes and stuff. But I think people are a little bit afraid. Hey, can I have 5 minutes? Can I get back with you in Messenger and ask more questions or whatever? To me, in the autistic community, you need to ask more questions, because I think with how prevalent autism is now, that the more questions you ask, not necessarily the easier, but the more steps you can take to help your child or even an autistic adult.
Exactly. No two people on the spectrum are the same. Everybody's different. And that's what makes, I think, the autism community so unique, is you have everybody that has their differences. And that's one thing that we should celebrate, is that there are no two people alike. And
right.
With Tony, I I have always, raised him that there's nothing he can't do. It's about letting him reach his fullest potential and live life on his terms. That's my goal for Tony, is to live his best life on his terms.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just it. John is learning to grasp all of everything he can all at once, and sometimes we end up with little clusters of knowledge. But I think the biggest thing for my boys is that they learn to take the good and the bad. I know I find that the negative is a real struggle to explain to them, because
Yes.
our kids are black and white. Literally, they don't live in the gray area like this kid does, because I've taught myself how to live in the gray area, because I'm able to see both sides. Where my sons are like, oh man, mom, this hurts. How help me? And it's like, oh, I need more words, or I need more clarification. And so for me, the struggle with my boys is the negative part.
Yeah. And
So
and again, and that's where, like you had touched upon, that's where knowing your child's strengths, you know, you can turn a weakness into a strength. If someone says, oh, your child's weak in this area, then you know what? Then you work on that area till it becomes fluid.
yeah, and that's just it. John's into, and I'm sure Tony has his major routines that he goes through.
It does.
Um, John, 6 o'clock every morning. Mom, are you awake? Are you for real? It's summer. It's
Uh,
summertime, dude.
Tony finished up. Tony finished up ESY last week. So it's now like, Tony, you can stay up as late as you want. You can sleep in as long as you want. I'm out of the house before you get up. It's all good.
Yeah, yeah. John's at 6 a.m. and then he's laying down at 7 p.m. Can't always tell you he's sleeping because you can hear him goofing, but
Yeah.
he but definitely a routine in our family. I have my husband's working third shift now, and so our routine's a little different. But I know 6 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is not a problem because that's my walk times and stuff. But 6 a.m. on Tuesday and Thursday, are you for real right now?
Like, I know, after I get off with you, Tony has music therapy today, and that's like, usually he's in school 8:30 to 2. Tuesday, he knows that mom's picking him up, and he's going to see his music therapist, and she's great, and it's been a good thing for him. He's been with her for, I want to say, I don't know, it's been a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I was just visiting with one of my son's um, counselors from high school, and they were talking about the deficits of teachers. Um, how is that affecting your school district there in Pennsylvania?
Um, it it just depends. You have some teachers that are phenomenal and will seek out the resources, and you have other ones that it's hit or miss. Now the program that Tony's in, the school that Tony goes to, he's what's called an out of district placement because our district can't meet his needs. Um, he's in a great program. It's run by, they're the staff there. It's all ABA all day. He also does the life skills, and they've, his school has worked hard to build their program, and it's a good, solid program.
Yeah, and I know you're very thankful for that, because unfortunately, I know I see a lot of school districts. What's the first thing they want to cut?
They want to cut
They
the
want,
special education or the arts budgets. That's what it is here.
yeah, and that's just it. I know. Again, I was speaking with one of my friends, and the biggest thing is they have no paras, nobody to help
Nobody.
these kids.
The one thing here about paraprofessionals is, it's not that they don't want to work. It's a lot of districts, they are underpaid. They there's a lot of that's one of the big things around here is nobody wants to be a paraprofessional because the districts aren't willing to pay or give them the supports or the trainings that they need. And that is key when working with our kids is, having the people that are able to understand them and have the knowledge, because knowledge is power. And that's how you have to have an understanding of every child. Every child's different. Every IEP is different, as you know, every 504, every treatment plan. It's not the same.
Yeah. And what's, IEPs are obviously, in my case, I would write them the same, but I don't, in Nebraska is different from Pennsylvania, and each state's going to be different. And I knew the biggest thing is being able to maintain consistency with the kids. So my youngest son had an amazing special education teacher, and then right after he graduated from high school, she left. I think the biggest thing now is you're having so many different areas changing, and special education teachers either retiring or going to maybe say private sector with being able to work with kids one-on-one. And I don't know, but from my point of view is, if the school districts aren't going to maintain the teachers, I personally think a lot of them will end up in a private sector kind of a one-on-one basis with the kids that they've either already taught or already teaching or continue to teach. And so what I'm seeing is a lot of non-consistency as far as maintaining the availability for our special needs kids.
Exactly. You hit that one on the head.
Yeah, it's one of those where I'm not directly involved with a high school. My son's linked to where he graduated from, but I think the biggest thing is people. The government has said no more funding. So why? But we can still play sports. We can still do music and different stuff. So not that my son was huge into any of those, but I see a lot of my friends not being able to continue a lot of that because there's no valid funding. Or I don't want to go too far into this, where'd the funds go for COVID?
Again, that's not my area of expertise,
Not mine either. I just try to maintain just enough knowledge to keep myself out of trouble, I think.
Exactly.
So, but yeah. So I have one more thing I want to cover before I let you go, since I know you have to travel. We know a lot of different responses for autism, and in my other background as veterans, we deal with trauma, depression, and suicide, as well as caregiver burnout and stuff. When you talk to parents, how do you work through that, or have you ever had to work through that?
I haven't really had to work out with it yet. But I do know that parents are overwhelmed and that they need resources. And the thing is, there a lot of places there's a struggle to find the resources.
Yeah, I know. And also, I don't know if she's still listening, but maybe Kathy can help us out with this. I'm looking at. I had a question asked to me about autism and dyslexia, and I'm looking for some more resources on that, as well as being able to direct a gentleman that needs some help with some stuff that he's dealing with. So if you have any resources on that direction, I know autism and dyslexia, it can go either way. If they have autism, sometimes they could be also diagnosed with dyslexia, and vice versa, dyslexia and autism. So, if anybody has an opportunity to help me out there.
I can share I can check with Kathy and maybe if she points in the right direction.
Yeah, it's one of those. I have enough resources here. I believe he's in Oklahoma, and so he wants some more information to help his clients and stuff. So with my broad range of folks, looking for a little bit of extra help on that. I'm obviously going to send him what I have, but that's where I'm at. And I know autism and dyslexia both have a lot of underlying issues and stuff too. So, yeah. So, all right. You want to give a shout out to where you work and give some hype to that group?
Oh, I'm a proud member of Achieving True Self based out of Irwin, Pennsylvania. We also have, we serve counties in Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia. It's a great team. There is so much support. I can't gush enough about the supports that we have and everything that they do. You know, the fact that you're valued and appreciated for what you bring to the team. It's a great thing. I trade the world.
Nice. So, all right. I think I'm going to close this out by saying it's been a privilege and a joy to hang out with you. Thank you for your insight to the autism side of your view. And thank you for taking the time to come on today, knowing that you have about a packed schedule as I do, and just like to slide people in here. And I hope you enjoyed your time. And just so you know, you broadcasted in the United Kingdom, because that's where Mental Health Warrior is based, and it reaches many people. So it's a privilege to be a part of this platform. And I also thank Adam and his wife, Carrie, for the opportunity to be here. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and end our show. And you have a great
You too.
day and hang with me. Oh, that was fun. I was glad to